Let's add color glazes to a grisaille. What is a grisaille? Well, it is a monochromatic painting like the old masters did back in the days of Caravaggio. And what they would do is they would create kind of a brown underlayer called a toning ground or just a ground. And then they would paint white and dark on top of it. In this case, titanium white and raw umber dark. And then it's a monochromatic kind of painting showing the value structure. What we're going to do is add color on top of that. So if you've been following along, this is the painting I've been doing of King David as the Ark of the Covenant came back into Jerusalem, and he is dancing. He is just excited. He's happy. Now you can see the reference photo over here that I've been working from on the side, and that's what I'm trying to depict, is that sense of joy. A lot of contrast with the sunlight kind of striking his face on the left side here, his clothing, and we're just wanting to go over and get all these wrinkles and everything colorized, and that's the process here. So the face, skin tones, all of that, get that colorized. Let's begin with a word of prayer, and we'll dive in. So Father, I ask that you would bless this painting. Help me to be able to show the students how this can benefit them in their portraits, and guide me as I paint this, as I need your help. But I thank you that you're able, and I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Bless this painting in Jesus' name. Amen. Alrighty, so again, we've got the grisaille finish here, got the whites, we got the darks, we got the mid-tone. So there's 3 different levels. Like I said, the brightest value, darkest value, the middle value. It's all there, and now it's time then to add some color. And we're going to do that using the acrylic glazing technique, which is taking a little bit of paint, mixing it with a large amount of matte medium. That's clear acrylic without the pigment. And this is what it looks like on your palette, and you just mix a little bit of color into that. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to begin by isolating my skin tones from the clothing, because it's clothing, color, and the kind of earth tone color of the temple, the bricks and all that in the background are similar. So we want to separate out the warmer skin tones from that. So let's take a little bit of burnt sienna on the palette. It's a good color to start with. And then maybe a little bit of this organic orange, kind of a nice red-orange color. And we mix those two together, maybe add just a tiny bit of raw sienna. And I think that'll get us a pretty nice color. All right, and I want to show this to you on my white card so you can see what that glaze actually looks like right there. And let's go ahead and now start a glaze onto his face. So it's going to be fairly light, but again, we're just wanting to get a little differentiation between that color and the background. So on our next layer, we'll go a little bit more robust, but this one here, it's just going to be pretty faint. I'll add just a little more color to it so you can see what's going on. And we'll just kind of wipe away some of the highlights here on the nose and part of the cheek. Okay, and then we'll add a little bit to the arm, because that also should get some color, so we'll just glaze over that. Use light pressure to kind of spread that out a little bit. All right, so that gives us a little differentiation in the tone right away. And then from there, we can add a glaze to the background where we're going to warm it up a little bit. Mix a little bit of raw sienna and Indian yellow. Primarily, we'll just use some raw sienna. Add this color to the background. So we want to Let me show it to you on the white card, and then that's going to go over a lot of the bricks and everything, just kind of making it a little more yellowish, developing a sense of the overall color structure. And there's some areas in the background that have some cooler tones because the sky is kind of affecting the color a little bit too. But I want to get some of these yellowish tints on the top. And then down here we have some cool tones in there, but there's just a couple areas where it's warmer, so I want to get those captured. Let's see, maybe right there, yeah. Just want to wipe this down a little bit. And I want to have that warmer tint right there, primarily. So add a little bit here as well, using very light pressure, holding the brush kind of perpendicular to the canvas. And a little bit of this warmer raw sienna color here on the chest. A little bit on the clothing right there. And then on the underside of his arm, that's going to be a little bit warmer in tone too. So we're going to add quite a bit of that raw sienna color there. And that just changes the dynamic a lot already to add these warmer colors. Underside of his arm here, we're just getting reflected light coming from different areas of the ground, warming up the tints, certain spots. These areas are cooler. So I'm just looking at my reference photo and letting that be my guide as far as what, to make warmer and what to make cooler. So you can see that here. Oh, it is a little bit warmer in the chest area, a little bit warmer on the underside of the sleeve and so forth, underside of the sleeve, but a little cooler in temperature in these areas here, probably because it's reflecting some of the color of the sky. And so getting these differences in color temperature are huge in setting up your painting to look realistic. Once you have your value structure dialed in, that's really the next best thing to do. So the top of his chest is a little bit cooler in tone, and we want to separate that out there. But then these other areas are some are warmer, some are cooler. Now we can make some distinctions too, for his sash. Maybe I want to make that more of a reddish color, and that might be a good color choice to use. So I'll grab a different brush, and we'll take some naphthalene red, which is a pretty strong color, and then just kind of minimize it, tone it down with some burnt sienna. Mix those two colors together. We can use that on his sash. So we'll just start by brushing that on the shadowed side of it. It's usually the best way to go. I'm going to need a different brush. Let's try a different brush here. And the brush I had just was not soft enough. So, keeping the color temperature a little cooler in the shadowed area. And then as we get into the highlighted area, it'll be a little bit warmer. But we're just starting with some glazes here. And this is what they call the glazing technique, where you use a lot of very translucent layers. You can see through them. It almost looks like watercolor at first, but eventually it ends up looking more like oil by the time it's done. So we just kind of glaze into these shadows a little bit, and then I'll use a warmer color as I get into the highlighted area. That's just to kind of create a different look here. Put his same color on his forehead, sash, sweatband, whatever you call it. All right, so now we already have some different distinctions in color. Let's go and add distinction in color to the background. Let's put in some cool tones here, and that should really create some great differentiation in the colors. And you get all these different colors, warm tones, cool tones, yellows, reds, all these things working together. You really will set yourself up for success for future layers. So let's take some ultramarine blue. And a little bit of phthalo blue as well. Mix those together. And then we'll glaze them over a few different areas in the background. So we want to capture that look of there being the sky color reflecting on the ground. So put a little bit of that in here, and then some cooler tints here. Let's see. And then we also want to apply that to his chest, and we'll have to go over it with some different colors to really make that pop, but we just kind of start out very light, and that way if you make a mistake, it's pretty easy then to correct it. Here we'll just add a little bit into the shadow on that building on this side. Let's see. Put a little bit here on this shadow on the ground. And then some on this shadow here. Basically, it's just to kind of let us know as the artist where we're going with it, because you can step back and see and get an idea for the development that your painting is taking. And even though it's very, very faint and you can barely see the differences, it's enough to get you going in the right direction. And you can look back and basically ask yourself, do I like the direction that this painting is taking? And if not, it's very easy to correct it because you haven't, committed a lot of time or a lot of layers to it. And because they're so faint, because they're so light, it's very easy to change them to something else. But I've got some of these distinctions of color. I've got some warm tones on here. I've got the skin tones. I've got, the reddish tint for the band around his forehead, sash on his waist. Cooler tints for the shadows on the ground, which are reflecting the sky color. So a lot of different things going on here that I think will really help the painting as we work on it some more. So I think we'll stop off right here and continue on in some more videos to basically create more depth, but more color information as well. So we've got the value structure working, and now we have the color structure beginning to take place as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Check out more of my tips, tutorials, and other videos at realisticacrylic.com. Love to connect with you there and help you in your portrait painting or your acrylic painting in general. My name is Matt Philleo. Thank you so much for watching here. God bless, and we'll talk to you soon.